Hello, good morning, and welcome to the 10th Annual American Climate Leadership Summit. I'm Meighen Speiser, ecoAmerica's Executive Director, and I'm here with Vanessa Hauc, news anchor for Telemundo and ecoAmerica board member. We're glad you're here with us, your trusty hosts.
Hello, good morning, everyone. Today will be a full day packed with fabulous sessions. We hope you will find it inspiring, engaging, and activating. But before we jump into our sessions, we're going to start this summit by honoring the land. In countries across the globe, it is both a practice and a policy to open gatherings by acknowledging the traditional indigenous inhabitants for the land. So I would like to acknowledge that I am joining you today from Miami, from the traditional lands of the Taino, the Taquesta, and the Seminole people. I pay my respects to the elders, both past and present. Acknowledgement is a simple, powerful way of showing respect. It's a step toward correcting the stories and practices that erase indigenous people's history and culture, and a step forward, inviting and honoring the truth.
And I would like to acknowledge that I am joining from San Francisco on the traditional lands of the Muwekma and Ramaytush Ohlone peoples, who have stewarded this land for thousands of years, for which I am grateful. Acknowledgement by itself is a small gesture, but it becomes more meaningful when coupled with authentic relationships and informed action. This beginning, this honoring, can be an opening to a greater public consciousness of native sovereignty and cultural rights, and a step toward equitable relationships and reconciliation. Join us in adopting, calling for, and spreading this practice. And follow the links that the ecoAmerica team has put in the chat for more information, guidance, and to participate authentically.
Thank you, Maggie. How about this? Let's start off with asking all of you who have joined us already to type the city where you are joining us from in the Action Center chat box on the right of us. If you already know or you have looked into how to honor and recognize the indigenous peoples of your lands, we welcome you to also joining us in honoring the land by chatting that recognition into the chat box too.
Welcome, welcome. We will have attendees joining us from all across the United States and beyond. And we look forward to your engagement on this day 2 of the American Climate Leadership Summit. We hope you're fueled and ready for the day. 3 words that you're going to hear quite a bit throughout today and tomorrow are ambition, restoration, and justice. And these are not only the themes of the summit, but also they are a call for us to do all we can, when we can, whether in our homes, our neighborhoods, our families, cities, states, or nation, to move equitable and just climate solutions forward. Ambition is getting to at least 50% clean energy by 2030. It's our moonshot. Restoration is about restoring the beautiful nature all around us, restoring our communities, and really restoring ourselves. And justice is about centering justice and equity in all that we do, including who is leading. We cannot have climate solutions without justice, and we cannot have justice without equitable climate solutions. And we can do this. You can do this. Our nation can do this. And wow, what a year and what a difference a few months can make. Right, Vanessa?
Absolutely, Meighen. The progress on climate solutions by the Biden administration is truly amazing. We have so much to celebrate. Less than a week ago, on Earth Day, President Biden gathered world leaders to discuss the Paris Climate Accords as we prepare to re-enter them. The administration announced that America will double our national determined contribution targets to 50 to 52% reductions versus 2005 levels by 2030. They are making significant investments in the transition to clean energy, and they are taking a whole government approach to tackling the climate crisis, and this is exactly what we needed. These announcements show great promise for our future, but we all know that it is still going to take all of us, individually and collectively, to do what we can to ensure our path forward on climate is not only ambitious, but it's just equitable too. And we just can't wait for things to happen at the federal level. We definitely need to get involved. In order to achieve the progress that we need, we must bring solutions forward locally in our neighborhoods, in our towns, in our communities, and in our cities.
Now truly is the time to make solutions happen. And just think, it's within our grasp now to make the world a healthier, more just, and more verdant place where everyone has an equitable chance to live their best lives. I can visualize this world. Can you? I really hope so, because it's so important to be able to see that world so that we can achieve it. It might be a bit challenging to see this given the year we've had. And so we want to recognize that so many have suffered and suffered great losses due to COVID, racism, and the devastating impacts of our changing climate. So let's hold each other in our hearts as we move forward. Let's find ways to multi-solve for our multiple concurrent pandemics. And I hope that you can see that each and every one of us can make a difference, can be part of the solution. So often we're looking to the left, we're looking to the right, we're looking all around us to look for the people who can bring solutions forward. The truth is, all we need to do is look in the mirror. We are all more powerful than we think. And we at ecoAmerica hope that this American Climate Leadership Summit will give you a breath of new ideas to pursue and a breath of fresh inspiration to move forward.
That's beautifully said. Thank you so much, Meighen. Yesterday, a diversity of leaders in the health and faith offer their guidance for you to follow, from mental health to birth equity, multi-solving for COVID and justice. The National Health and Climate Forum brought important perspectives and guidance forward and lively breakout conversations. The National Faith and Climate Forum covered transformation, resilience, justice, and expanding engagement across the aisle. What a pleasure to be welcomed by the wonderful Gina McCarthy and her beautiful opening keynote, and the powerful words of Dr. Benjamin Chavez Jr. in his afternoon keynote address. If you missed any of yesterday's sessions, you will be able to replay them on demand on YouTube next week. What an exciting American Climate Leadership Award ceremony. Congratulations again to the runner-up, Youth versus Apocalypse, who received $25,000. And of course, congratulations to the winner, New Collective, who received $50,000 for their exceptional replicable work on climate solutions. We will be hearing from Tara Hauc, founder of We Know Connected, in just a few minutes.
Today, we're going to hear from U.S. EPA Administrator Michael Regan. We're going to get inspired from ecoAmerica founder and president Bob Perkowitz. We're going to find out all we can save from 3 women who helped write the best-selling book of the same name. We're going to hear the truth about climate justice and why it matters to all of us. We're going to find out the latest on what cities are doing to lead on climate, what we can all do to bring America together on climate. We're going to be inspired by local and national leaders who are raising ambition and action on climate and how we can follow in their footsteps, and dive deep on hot topics such as plastics, policy, and engaging conservatives on climate. And of course, we're going to dive into advocacy as well. We will then welcome Senator Sheldon Whitehouse from Rhode Island for the closing keynote.
Wow, what a day, Meighen. Be sure to stay hydrated and nourish everyone, and to participate in our stretch breaks to keep your mind and body active and healthy. We want all of you who are attending to dive in and to participate, to be part of ecoAmerica. And you can also do so in the Action Center that you see on the right of us. Through the Action Center, you can do many things. You can chat with all attendees, you can chat to one attendee individually, you can take polls, ask questions, put out for other people questions, you can send questions to speakers, and also you can participate in social media. And my favorite feature, you can click on the emojis to let us know how you're feeling. There's hearts and thumbs up, and there's so much more. So let's get started.
And you'll see me in there today as well. Don't forget to jump into social media too. Use the hashtag ACLS2021. The ecoAmerica team will be taking screenshots, tweeting out quotes, spreading powerful ideas and guidance shared today. So follow along, like and share, take this conversation as far as possible. So often Americans only hear the bad news on climate change, and it's time to hear the good news, and you can help spread it. And speaking of good news, it's time for us now to hear our opening keynote. It's my distinct pleasure to introduce the 16th U.S. Environmental Protection Agency Administrator, Michael Regan. We are grateful for Michael's environmental leadership in North Carolina, for his long-term friendship with ecoAmerica, for bringing ambitious just and restorative solutions forward on climate in just a little over a month in office. Welcome, Administrator Regan, who will be followed by ecoAmerica founder and president, Bob Perkowitz.
I'm excited to be here with you for ecoAmerica's Climate Leadership Summit. I'm grateful for your commitment to confronting climate change. Throughout my career, I've always believed that if you want to address complex challenges, you must be willing to put yourself in other people's shoes. That's true for every challenge, no matter the size or scope, and for every community across America. When it comes to fighting climate change, advancing environmental justice, and solving just about every environmental challenge we face, we need an all-hands-on-deck approach. These aren't issues that affect any one person, party, or community. They affect us all. At EPA, we're committed to convening stakeholders where they live, where they work, and where they serve. That's how we'll protect our communities who've long borne the burden of pollution. That's how we'll tackle climate change. That's how we'll grow good-paying, clean energy jobs. And that's how we'll build a stronger, healthier, more equitable economy. But we need leaders like you who have the power to inspire Americans of all backgrounds and beliefs. Thanks for inviting me to join you. I hope you make the most of this summit, build relationships with people across sectors, and leverage the knowledge you gain today to make a difference in your communities and beyond.
Greetings, good morning, everyone, and welcome to this second day of the 10th Annual American Climate Leadership Summit. I need to start out with some thank yous. First to Michael Regan for welcoming us and all you're doing to rebuild and make justice a priority at the EPA. And thank you too, Gina, for your wonderful comments yesterday, reminding us of the power of thinking globally but acting locally. We appreciate you both taking time amidst what must be the busiest and most important months of your public lives to share your thoughts on climate action with us at this summit. A further big thanks to the ecoAmerica team and our partners and speakers who put all this together. An incredible amount of work, over 80 fantastic speakers, a wonderful program, well done. It's a great way for all of us to share and learn and be as effective as possible as we address the climate emergency. Reality is upon us and we have some big responsibilities here. Over the past 10 years since our first summit, it feels like we've gone from future tense to past tense without stopping in the present. Just a decade ago, solar and wind were financially uncompetitive, 10 times their current cost. For all practical purposes, 10 years ago, there was no such thing as electric cars or grid batteries. Significant impacts from climate were decades away, and a 20% reduction in emissions was considered a pretty big deal. But it's a whole new world right now. Wind and solar are not only our cleanest energy sources, they're also by far our least expensive. Clean electricity, almost all new utility scale energy in the world today is wind or solar. Coal and gas need subsidies. 72 countries have already reached 100% renewable electricity or have passed laws to reach it before 2050. Electric cars. All major auto producers will discontinue internal combustion engine cars by 2030 or 2035. They have little choice. 14 countries, California, 54 cities around the world have already announced bans on fossil fuel cars. And of course, financial markets are quickly moving that way too. You can see it in the inflows to the bond markets, in the clean economy stock valuations like NextEra Energy and Tesla. Tesla is now worth more than Ford, GM, Volkswagen, and Toyota combined. Biden's International Climate Summit last week showed us again that the world is coalescing around 100% clean energy by 2050. So for most organizations and cities, 50% by 2030 or 100% by 2050 isn't a stretch goal. It's coming in very last place. You're not leading, you're doing the least you possibly can. Okay, so we've all seen the accelerating wildfires, unusual weather, storms, freezes, floods, derecho, sea level rise, but we're not paying as much attention as we should to species extinction, biodiversity, human migration, health, or even the massive economic cost of climate damage and adaptation. We are at an inflection point. Global warming is not a separate or side issue anymore. It's already the #1 threat to our health and well-being. It's already the top issue in international security and economic development. So that's what we're facing, an emergency with permanent tipping points here or in the near horizon that will make our present climate crisis seem benign. So what do? Let's start with the real problems. What's the largest use of polluting energy in America and the world? Transportation, industry, electricity? No. The biggest use of dirty fossil fuels in the world is producing dirty fossil fuels. Drilling, mining, refining, and transporting all that fossil fuels consumes about 1/4 of all the energy we use on the planet. What's the second biggest use of dirty fossil fuels? Waste. I'm not talking about leaving your lights on. Industry always tries to make waste a demand issue, to blame us consumers, but it's really a supply issue. We don't have choices. Fossil fuels are a very inefficient way to make electricity or power ground transportation. 80% of the energy used to power our internal combustion cars goes to wasted heat, not moving us forward. Coal and methane electricity plants waste over half the energy they make on heat, not electricity. So the first thing that we need to do as fast as we can is electrify everything and get that electricity from renewable energy sources. That will not only clean our air and water and save the planet, it will reduce our overall energy use by about 40% and save trillions of dollars. What's stopping us? It's not technology. It's not money that's in the way of our transition to a clean economy. It's injustice and complacency. The denial of climate science, the obfuscation of facts and truth for political and corporate or personal financial gain holds us back. Our polarized politics are a symptom, not a cause of this greed and malfeasance. As Meighen said, there are 3 principles that can help us overcome obstacles and accelerate the transition to a clean energy economy. The first thing is ambition. The goals of 50% by 2030 and 100% by 2050 are in no way assured. Even if we reach those targets, it's not enough to keep the planet from overheating. We need to up our ambition. Think 100% by 2040. We need to emulate what the Biden-Harris administration is doing. Move forward with what needs to be done now, not with compromises or delays that will ensure a calamitous future. We all need to up our ambition in our personal lives, in our companies and communities, and with policymakers. If someone says they're going 50% by 2030, challenge them to do it in half the time, or even 100% by 2022, next year. It's possible. As they say, just do it. The second thing we have to focus on is restoration. Nature takes care of us. Thriving nature helps us be mentally and physically healthy. It helps children adjust and get better grades. It gives us clean air and clean water for free. Nature was in balance, no waste, no pollution, and then we came along and started burning fossil fuels. We need to reestablish balance in our communities, farms, and our forests. If we can restore thriving nature, we will restore ourselves and go a long way to solving the climate change problem. The Nature Conservancy says that natural climate solutions, forests, agriculture, grasslands, and more, have the potential to remove 21% of our carbon pollution, more than the pollution from all the cars and trucks on the road today. The third thing that we focus on is justice. Americans struggle with justice. Many of us don't really get racial justice or environmental justice. We don't understand how deeply institutionalized racial, health, education, and economic disparities are in America. 96% of us say that all Americans have a right to live in a healthy environment with clean air and clean water. But when you dig a little bit deeper, only 74% say they will support climate action if it helps nature, and only 44% will support climate action if it advances justice. So 96% of people say that we have a right to clean air, water, but only 44% we think that we should act on that. Do you live near a refinery or a coal power plant? Probably not. Do you live next to a highway with thousands of cars driving by each day, polluting your home? Probably not. Do you see healthy, beautiful nature outside your home windows? Likely. Tens of millions of children and people are living with unhealthy pollution. They suffer from neurological damage, get lower test scores. They suffer from asthma and other lung and heart conditions because of the polluted air. And the rest of us are benefiting from their sacrifices. It's not their fault. It's not right. Each of us needs to stop watching the injustice and start acting and advocating for racial and environmental equities. We need to overcorrect them as fast as we can. Biden's plan to eliminate all lead pipes in America is a good example of what we need to do. All of it now. All children need the same level of spending and opportunity from our public school systems. Parks in lower income communities should be as big and as nice as they are in wealthier communities. We should encourage jobs and investment in low income communities with economic development zones. There's so much we can do if we all use our influence in our workplaces and communities to advance policies and practices that center racial justice and environmental justice in America. So that's my take on our progress, our priorities, and principles for climate action. We see the problems. We have competent and responsible federal leadership. Now's the time to ask. And let me just close with a bit on ecoAmerica. We start with people and build climate leadership. 91% of Americans say they are concerned about climate change now, 48% very concerned. Most of them aren't doing anything because no one is asking them and no one's helping them. So at ecoAmerica, that's what we're working on. We work to bring faith, health, and local communities together in action on climate change. We support 100 national partner organizations with robust programs, research, training guides, and much more. People are told they can't do anything about climate change. It's the same tactic as blaming them for waste. It deflects the attention from the true problem and disempowers people from addressing it. Everyone listening to this belongs to organizations and lives in communities. It's your responsibility to bring up climate change in those venues and motivate them to action. Use ecoAmerica's Let's Talk and Moving Forward guides. Join our ambassador training programs, subscribe to our leaders, and join our leadership circles. Alone, we can do little, but together, in groups, we can do so much. Lastly, I just want to honor all of you. It's heartening working alongside you. Your commitment, your energy, they keep us going. Thanks for all you do. Onward and back over to you, Vanessa and Meighen. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Bob. I really appreciate you saying to just do it and to invite others into this work. We should all be inviting others into this work. And I also appreciated that you talked about the benefits of action on climate. So often people are hearing about, if anything, about climate change, they're hearing about the negative consequences. And we're not hearing enough about the benefits. So when you invite others in, talk about the benefits of climate action and how it has those personal benefits for people's families, their health and well-being. So thank you, Bob. And thank you all of us who are joining today. I know it's a bit early for us on the West Coast where I am. So your thoughts and energy, Bob, and those of Michael's are really helping to get all of our energy up. And coffee is helping me as well. So for those of you who are just joining, be sure to log into the Action Center to the right of us. I've been watching folks click on the emojis, so that's fantastic. You can engage with other attendees. You can ask questions or vote up questions. You can take polls. And also be sure to follow us on social media, like and share and tweet using the hashtag ACLS 2021. There's also a small but mighty team of eco-Americans who are sharing things in the chat. So look out for updates, links to answers from Jess, Jennifer, Nicole, Annie, Rebecca, Jennifer Roberts, Bob, or even myself. We're also pushing out feedback surveys too. So please join in and let us know what you think. Your feedback is important to us as we help to continue to broaden and diversify climate leadership in America and ensure we're working towards excellence in the summit and those in the future. And speaking of excellence, I believe we have a fantastic session coming up next, right, Vanessa?
Yes, absolutely. I'm so pleased they are joining us today. You know, my role in Telemundo is to report on climate change often, to bring the people that are affected by our changing climate, both as a Regan news anchor and also through our environmental unit, Planeta, Tierra, Planet Earth. So often I'm reporting on the devastating effects of climate change. And I have the opportunity to speak to the people that are barely surviving after the aftermath of a hurricane. Also, I get the opportunity to go and see firsthand the impacts of the fires in the Amazon jungle and report on the devastation. But more and more, I get to report on the good news, and this is something that really makes me very, very happy. This includes speaking to Pope Francis about his call to action through Laudato Si, reporting on the announcement of the Biden administration last week that I think it was phenomenal, and bringing forward the hopeful stories of people that are working together to protect our oceans. Today, we are starting with this kind of good news. We are hearing from three wonderful women authors who are shining a light on All We Can Save, the name of the best-selling book on climate that just published last week. Join me in welcoming Catherine Hauc, Jackie Patterson, and Abigail Dillon, who will join us right after this clip from our sponsor.